Okay, ready for a deep dive?
Always.
Today, it's Jacques Ellul's Presence in the Modern World. This book, even decades later, it's like he's holding up a mirror to our world. Tech everywhere, information overload.
And you've given us quite the challenge with these excerpts. How do Christians live authentically in a world that honestly feels like it's about to explode?
Right. And Ellul comes out swinging. He says this feeling we have like we're on the brink of some massive upheaval. It's an illusion.
It's funny, isn't it? Because everything feels chaotic. Technology is changing faster than ever. Politics feel like. Well, good luck figuring out politics.
And social media. Don't even get me started.
Exactly. It all screams revolution.
So that's what's so fascinating about Ellul. He gets it, that feeling of constant change. But he says, look closer. We're actually stuck.
It's like we're on a high-speed train, but...
This is going in a circle.
Exactly.
Okay, so if everything feels different, how can Ellul say that nothing is really changing?
He uses this analogy of different political systems, like capitalism, communism, whatever the flavor of the month is. He says they're like different suits on the same person. You can change the outfit.
But the person's still the same underneath.
Exactly. Their core beliefs, their motivations, those stay the same.
So it's like, we think we're making these huge choices, this political party, that new gadget, but really it's all surface level.
You got it. Ellul argues there's a deeper level at play, something he calls the structures of our civilization.
Structure.
Think of it like the operating system on your phone. You might switch out apps, change your background, but that underlying system...
That's what's really in control.
Right. It shapes what's even possible in the first place.
Okay, so what are these structures? What are these invisible forces that Ellul says are actually shaping our world?
He points to a few big ones. First, there's this obsession with production, this need for more, like a hamster wheel.
We can't get off.
Then there's the expanding power of the state, how it reaches into more and more aspects of our lives, often in ways we don't even realize.
And then the big one, technique. But he doesn't just mean technology, right?
No, he's talking about a whole way of thinking. This drive for efficiency, for applying logic and systems to everything. And that's where it gets really interesting, because Ellul argues that this technique, this way of thinking, it's even shaping how we understand the spiritual, how we experience the world.
Okay, so wait. We're stuck in this loop, driven by these invisible forces.
Yeah.
But it's not a calm kind of stuck. It's more like...
You're strapped to a rocket.
But hurtling towards what?
That's the question, isn't it? That's what Ellul wants us to wrestle with. If this constant churn, if this isn't real revolution, then what is? And more importantly, how do we break free?
Okay, now you've got me. He's not just critiquing the system. He's saying there's another way. Don't leave me hanging.
Well, Ellul's vision of true revolution, it might surprise you. It's not about storming the Capitol or inventing some new gadget. It's far more radical than that.
All right, now I'm really intrigued. Listeners, stick around, because things are about to get interesting.
Okay, hold on a sec. You can't just drop a bombshell like true revolution and not tell us what it looks like. What is Ellul's alternative? What do we do, instead of this whole high-speed hamster wheel thing?
Well, to get there, we've got to deal with another one of Ellul's big ideas. He calls it the tyranny of means.
Tyranny of means. Okay, that sounds kind of ominous.
Right.
Is it like, what are the tools we use? Do they end up using us?
You're on the right track. It's like, we invented the smartphone to save us time, but now...
We're glued to them, yeah, 24/7.
You're getting it. See, Ellul is arguing that we've gotten so fixated on how to do things, on being efficient and doing things the right way, maximizing everything, the drill, that we've forgotten why we're even doing them.
Oh, I totally get that. It's like we're all chefs with these amazing kitchens, right? Top of the line everything.
But no one remembers what they actually like to eat.
Exactly. Or why we even enjoy food in the first place. And the funny thing is, Ellul uses medicine as an example. Think about it. We're living longer than ever, curing diseases left and right.
Amazing advancements, yeah.
Right. But then Ellul hits you with this question, to what end? Just because we can extend life, does it mean that we know how to make that life meaningful?
Whoa. Okay, yeah, you're right. That's deep.
It is.
It's like we've figured out how to keep the machine running.
But forgot to check if it's even pointed in the right direction.
Yeah. We've got the means part down, but the meaning, not so much.
Exactly. And that's where the danger is, according to Ellul. He says that when our end goals are fuzzy, when we just assume we know what they are, then...
Our tools become the goal.
In a way, yeah. It becomes all about what we can do, not whether we should do it. Like the fact that we can do something, that it's efficient or whatever, suddenly that becomes reason enough.
I see what you mean about this tyranny thing. It's like the tools themselves, they have this pull.
Yeah.
We get caught in their orbit, like we're so dazzled by what we can do, we forget to ask if we should.
And you know what? Ellul uses a really powerful example here, the atomic bomb.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
He says that the bomb's sheer power, the fact that it existed, became the justification for using it. All those moral implications, the long-term consequences.
They just kind of disappeared.
They were eclipsed by the sheer power of the means.
That's scary. But also, kind of. I hate to say it, but it feels true, you know? Like, how often do we get caught up in the latest technology, the newest thing, without even asking what it's doing to us, to our relationships, to the world?
Right. And here's the real kicker. Ellul says that this tyranny, it's not just about gadgets or bombs or whatever. It gets inside us. We start to see ourselves through this lens of efficiency, of productivity, even our spiritual lives.
It's become about checking boxes, not about, I don't know, really connecting with something.
It's true. So it's not just that our tools are failing us.
It's that they're changing us.
Exactly. They're making us less human.
So, Ellul, he's saying that we become like those, what was it, the savages he talks about?
Yes. Handed a machine they don't understand.
We've got all this technology, all this information at our fingertips.
But we've got no idea what we're building, what we're living for.
And that's where the Christian calling comes in, right?
You got it.
To remind us that there's more to life than just mean.
Absolutely. But, and this is important, Ellul doesn't give us some easy step-by-step plan.
Well, of course not.
He sees this time period, this era we're in, as uniquely challenging for Christians.
Because of technology.
Exactly. Because it's everywhere. It's like the air we breathe. It's hard to even see it, let alone fight back against it.
So where do we even begin if we're all trapped in this system?
Yeah.
How do we even start to break free?
Well, Ellul uses this great phrase. He says we need a ferocious and passionate destruction of myths. And he's not just talking about like ancient Greek myths, right? He's talking about the myths we tell ourselves, the stories we buy into about progress, about success, about what a good life even is.
I like that. It's like we're swimming in this soup of assumptions of things we just accept as true.
And Ellul's saying we need to dump the whole pot out.
Love it. So we need to be like detectives, examining our own lives, looking at every belief, every little habit, every shiny new thing, asking, does this serve me? Does this line up with my values, with my faith? Right. Or is it just more of the same, more of the machine?
Exactly. And that's where Ellul gets really challenging, especially for Christians who think that being present in the world means like picking a side in the latest culture war.
He's not buying it.
Not one bit. He says that Christians who just adopt whatever political ideology is popular, slap a Bible verse on it and call it a day.
That's not true presence.
Exactly. He says it's just giving in to the same old systems.
So what's the alternative? What are we supposed to be doing? If we're not supposed to be fighting on this side or that, then what?
That's where Ellul's vision of revolution gets really interesting. It's not about winning arguments. It's not about seizing power. It's about embodying a different way of being in the world.
A way of living that resists the machine. So it's less about these big dramatic gestures and more about the day-to-day, like how we spend our time, how we treat each other.
Yes, exactly. Even the little choices, like what we buy at the grocery store.
It all matters.
He has this beautiful analogy. He compares Christians to yeast in bread.
Oh, I love that.
He says that Christians should be like yeast, working quietly. You might not even notice it.
But slowly changing the whole thing from the inside out.
Exactly.
Yeast in bread. Okay, I'm going to remember that one. It's not about being loud or flashy or whatever. It's about that slow, steady work of change. And it's fueled by something much deeper than just the latest trend or ideology.
And that's where we start to see what Ellul means by true revolution. It's not about overthrowing governments or whatever. It's about overthrowing this tyranny of means in our own hearts and minds.
Yeah. Okay. So Ellul's calling for basically a completely different way of looking at our lives, at how we are in the world.
And he thinks that Christians, because we have different values, a different understanding of what really matters, he says we're in a unique position to lead the way.
But it's not going to be easy.
Not at all. It's going to take a huge shift in perspective, a willingness to let go of our assumptions, and a lot of trust in something bigger than ourselves.
That's a lot to take in. But if anyone can give us a glimpse of what that might look like, it's Ellul. Listeners, stick with us, because we're going to delve into the practical implications of Ellul's ideas. So we've talked about the problem, this tyranny of means, like Ellul says. We're chasing tools, but are we missing the point? But Ellul thinks there's a way out, right? Like a revolution of the soul. But what does that even look like? How do we live differently in a world that just wants us to do more, faster, better, all the time?
Yeah, it's tricky, right? Ellul doesn't give us a list of rules to follow.
Which is probably a good thing.
Yeah. He wants us to really wrestle with these questions, find our own way.
Makes sense.
But he does give us examples from history and from the Bible that show us what this radical presence can look like, you know?
Okay, yeah. Give us something to hold on to. Where do we even start?
Well, he talks a lot about the early Christians.
Oh, interesting.
They were living in a world obsessed with power and progress, just like us.
Always with the progress.
Right. But they lived by a totally different set of values. Love, service, sacrifice. Their lives were so different, so countercultural.
That it shook things up.
It turned the Roman Empire upside down.
Wow.
It's like their way of being was the revolution. They didn't have to storm any castles or write a manifesto or anything. They just lived in a way that showed how empty the empire's promises were.
Powerful stuff. So, Ellul wants us to ask, what would it look like for us to do that today? To live in a way that lines up with Jesus, with God.
And really disrupts the status quo.
Yes, so that people are like, wait a minute, what are they doing? There's something different there.
Exactly, something more.
It's a powerful idea, but I have to admit, it feels a little overwhelming, you know?
I hear you. It's a lot.
It feels like anything I do is just a drop in the bucket, you know, compared to these huge problems.
He understands that. Ellul doesn't pretend these challenges aren't real, but he reminds us, we're not alone in this.
That's good, because I was feeling kind of alone for a second there.
He talks about the power of the Holy Spirit.
Okay, yeah.
To change us from the inside out, to give us the strength, the wisdom to resist
the, what do we call it? The machine.
The machine, exactly.
It's not about just trying harder, gritting our teeth and being more spiritual.
Not at all. It's about surrendering to something bigger than ourselves, letting that power work in us, through us, even when we don't feel good enough.
I love that. Because honestly, sometimes it feels like the world is just spinning faster and faster.
And all the solutions they offer.
Just make it spin faster.
It's an illusion. That's Ellul's whole point. He wants us to wake up, to see this deeper reality. It's always there, even in the middle of all the craziness.
Okay, I like that.
And he says that Christians, because we believe in a God who's present in everything, we can see it, that deeper reality, and we can live from that place of connection, of purpose.
So it's not about like throwing away technology or hiding from the world.
No, it's about engaging with it, but
from a different place.
Exactly. With our priorities straight. He talks about rediscovering what it means to really live, embracing simplicity, choosing to be present instead of productive.
Looking for real connection in a world that's obsessed with, what would you call them, virtual substitutes?
Yes. It's about taking back our humanity, our very souls, from the grip of the machine.
I'm sensing a theme here. And this is where Ellul's revolution gets really down to earth. It's not about waiting for some huge societal shift. It's about the choices we make every day, right here, right now.
Yes. It starts with these small, quiet acts of resistance. Choosing to put down the phone, have an actual conversation. Making time for silence, for just being. Not trying to optimize every single minute of the day.
These might seem small, but
Ellul says they're powerful. They can chip away at that tyranny of means. They create space for something deeper to come through, something real.
It's like taking back our attention, our time, our lives from a system that just wants to use us.
Exactly. It's saying no to the demands of the machine and yes to something more true to who we really are.
I love that. Yes to our souls. So good.
That's Ellul in a nutshell, really. He's not giving us all the answers, but he's giving us hope. Hope that we can live differently, that there's a way to live that's more us, you know? More aligned with our values, with who we are at our core.
The call to wake up, pay attention, and choose a different path, even if it means going against the grain, even if it feels hard.
And in a world that's drowning in information and noise and this constant pressure for more.
Maybe that's the most revolutionary thing we can do. So, wow. This has been intense.
It always is with Ellul.
He really makes you think, But that's the point, isn't it? To keep asking these questions. So we hope this conversation has given you, our listeners, something to chew on. What about your life? How do you relate to technology, to your faith? What does it even mean to live in this wild world?
Big questions.
The best kind. So keep digging, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.